None of that.
Yep.
All right.
I want to say welcome, but
Welcome.
Last time I got made fun of.
Yeah, so what's up, guys? It has been a minute since an update because, well, shit got crazy. Shit got crazy. So we're going to try to give you a quick rundown because actually we are 2 hours away from going to the airport.
Yep. We're going to leave for the airport in an hour or two.
So spoiler alert, we are going to New Zealand.
If you're new here,
yeah.
We're moving to New Zealand today.
And also, you will now know as we let you know about all these various things that happen that we are in fact going to New Zealand. Because for a moment it seemed like maybe not all of us were. Mm-hmm. So what has happened since the last time?
So last time we chatted with you guys, it was still unknown. Cole's visa was still pending. We started to call like regularly to get some updates, and we got the news that it likely would not be processed in the time before we left, but they told us we could submit an escalation request.
Which got denied immediately.
Like an hour later, it was denied. They were like,
fastest
no.
response ever. And then our backup plan for me to get an NZETA, which is like a travel visa that like anybody can apply for, and usually you get it back in like 3 days. Someone that we talked to said, you might get turned away at the border depending on who you talk to. So, and then it would be a bad mark on me applying for a visa because I would have to check off, have you ever been turned away at the border before? And I would have to check, yes.
Yeah. So that was going to be a risk. We were like, okay, if the visa doesn't come back in time, Cole can do this travel thing, but that's a risk and that could be potentially detrimental. We didn't know what the implications of a denial at the border would look like long term, but it was a risk. But we were going to do it.
We were going to give it a shot because the alternative was what? I go live in Florida for a minute.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I mean, we're trying to escape the U.S. in general and definitely not end up in Florida is not the backup plan. So, all right. Then I got a mild case of what I might call the death.
The plague.
I got some type of the death. So then that was going on as well. And then we heard that the airline that was going was the only option to ship Penny, because she's a brachycephalic dog, little smush nose, said they're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah, so they sent out I think it was 2 weeks before we were supposed to leave, they sent out a memo saying they were no longer going to offer to take the brachycephalic dogs on that route, which meant there was no route. So we found that out on a Friday, and we kind of just spent the weekend. I spent the weekend in denial. I was not accepting that. Our pet travel agency said they were going to be working around the clock to figure something out, and I just had to hold on to hope because I couldn't think of anything else. I did reach out to my mom and say, hey, if you need to, can you watch Penny for a little while until they figured this out? Because I was confident they would figure something out. I just didn't know how soon with us leaving.
I spent the weekend looking up random cruises.
Yes.
How am I going to smuggle my dog across the ocean? But
come Monday morning, that it was no longer an issue. The airline was going to honor taking Penny.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. So it ended up being a non-issue, but it was a weekend.
That weekend was rough.
Of being scared. So we were very happy that all got to work out.
Yeah.
Penny got to go.
In the meantime, though, we did end up having to change their flights anyway because of when the certain vet and when the certain air acceptance, like they have to have a certain person there to accept them onto the airline.
The airline only takes pets, live animals during certain days of the week also. So that's like Thursday, Friday is the only days they take pets.
So then we changed our flights and all of our Airbnbs, but it's cool because Penny gets to go. And then after that good news of Penny getting to go, I got good news of I have a job interview lined up in Auckland, so that's very exciting to be able to maybe stay in the current career field that I'm in. So I'm really excited for that, especially because jobs aren't necessarily abundant.
New Zealand is in a recession like most of the world, but they are being hit pretty hard with like some government layoffs and things. So
I knew I would find a job, but it would be really nice to find the job I want. So I have an interview on Monday, which is super exciting. It'll be my second interview.
Yes.
But then,
but you had to tell them it's hard to apply for a job when you don't have the right to work. You don't have a visa
Yeah.
to work. So Cole told him, hey, I don't have a visa, but it should be
I'm
coming back at
confident
any
it'll
moment.
be in soon.
80% of the visas that Cole applied for are processed within 6 weeks. And us leaving was the 7.5 week mark. So week 6 rolled around and we were starting to get hopeful. Like any day now, we were calling, we were getting updates. There wasn't really any update. You eventually got assigned an immigration officer. And then I called back again, even though the lady told me, you're not going to be able to get any more updates after this. I was like, whatever, I'm going to call anyways. And I actually got the email address for Cole's immigration officer. And Cole,
Who we emailed.
Yes, Cole emailed and said, hey, I think this was like...
Just explain the situation. Yeah. She got back to us like an hour later. Not necessarily in reply to that email, but I think she had received it because then it was an email requesting more documentation from us. And while we're waiting for that, the labs lost our dog's blood test, the most recent blood test.
Yeah, so you have to get blood tests to make sure that they have the antibodies for all of the vaccines and things that they've gotten over the last few weeks. That happened.
Yeah.
The lab misplaced them, lost them. We don't know
we
what
don't
they
know
did
where
with them,
their
honestly.
vials of our dog's blood is currently. Yeah. However, it's not where it's supposed to be. So we had to get their blood redrawn.
When
which
we got
then
to LA.
Delays them being able to leave by 1 week.
Yeah.
So they're now we just dropped them off earlier today in a luxury pet hotel with their own bed and their Netflix, and that was a hard decision. But everyone there loves them, and they love the people there, surprisingly enough, which was kind of a shocker. But hey,
our dogs have never been boarded, so
No.
to know that they were going to be boarded for the first time for a full week, then they're going to fly, and then they're going to go into quarantine. It was a really tough decision, but with my orientation being on Monday, Cole's in-person job interview being on Monday, we just felt like it was a temporary sacrifice for the long-term gain, because I think I'm pretty confident that if Cole can just get in front of this interview, we could have a job.
And then you got to figure if the alternative was me staying behind with the dogs, which would have been the extra cost of me being in an Airbnb, the extra cost of the car rental. We already have to shell out extra money for another round of blood tests for the dogs.
And the boarding for them.
Yeah, well, the alternative is the boarding instead of me and the rental and all the other things that go along with it. So, yeah, that's where we are.
Yeah. The dogs are at their pet hotel. And then on Tuesday...
Oh, there was an ice cream truck.
There was an ice cream truck.
There was an amazing ice cream truck that we heard a little ding, 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 and we've been super stressed out. So I jumped up. I said, I'll get the truck, you get the money.
Yeah.
And I ran down the street to the ice cream truck, and then, dang, if she didn't see me for a minute, I definitely ran a block in slippers.
I thought you had missed it. I came outside and I was like, oh no, they didn't get it.
I was literally like waving my hands, screaming, ice cream, ice cream. She stopped.
But then she backed it up.
She backed it up.
And I came out with the monies.
In her socks. She's in her socks on my slippers. We had the monies. We got the ice cream. And then we came back in to
An email from immigration.
And I got my work visa.
Yeah.
2 days.
Yeah.
2
Barely
days.
48 hours before we're leaving.
Literally.
Cole's work visa came in.
2 days ago, it just came in, and oh my God, I can't tell you the amount of relief from that coming in. And it was kind of down to, that was the deciding factor. It was like, well, if I don't get it, maybe I just stay with the dogs. If I do get it,
Definitely go.
I gotta go. I gotta try to get that job.
Yeah.
So
if you don't get that job, now you gotta hit the ground running and applying and interviewing at other places. So it's been a roller coaster of emotions. I felt like every time we got good news, it was shortly followed by bad news, or vice versa. Like it felt like every step forward, we also got a step back in a different direction. But we're here. We're hours away from leaving.
Hours away from leaving, and we decided to commemorate our ice cream truck good news.
Oh yeah.
With happy little ice cream guys. So Rachel got, where is he? She got her little ice cream guy, and I got my little chasing after the ice cream guy to celebrate that we're doing it.
We're doing it.
We're going to New Zealand. It's official. We're getting the out of here in 2 hours.
And
And
guess how many bags we ended up with?
oh my god.
Spoiler alert, we did not make the quota.
No, we had thought that we would each end up with 3 bags and a personal item.
Backpack.
So we thought we were going to have 8 total bags, including personal items, and we have
10!
10! So that's not too bad.
Yeah. We're going to check 6 bags total, 3 each.
Yep.
We're going to have a carry-on each and a personal item each. So
Yes. Yeah.
we got our lives into 10 bags.
Got our lives into 10 bags and 3 dog crates.
Yeah, which we don't have to keep the dog crates on the other end of this, so it's fine.
I'm selling those things. They were expensive.
Oh, okay, I guess we're selling
Those things were expensive.
Yeah, they
If
were.
you guys know anyone in New Zealand who needs some dog crates, we got the hookup. But that's that.
Yeah.
We're headed that way, and our adventures will get a lot more exciting soon.
Hopefully.
With happy excitement.
Yes. I am
Um,
convinced I'm going to cry my first day of school.
Yeah. When it
I don't
all
know.
just settles in, and it's like, who knows? Who knows when
Yeah.
it's gonna feel
I've
real?
been very emotional. I
Yeah.
spent the day we found out that the dogs weren't going. I
Oh.
spent that morning crying, and I
was
just
rough.
started letting myself feel my feelings instead of trying to rationalize them or work
Yeah.
through them. I just felt them, and then that afternoon's when we got Cole's visa. So it's like again, one step back, one step forward. So
Yeah.
we got to take the wins where we can get them, and currently we're winning. Fingers
We're winning.
crossed. Knock
We're
on
going.
wood.
We're heading out. We are currently at an Airbnb in LA, and then soon we'll be at the airport, and then we'll soon be in New Zealand. So
See you on the other side.
see you on the other side
Cheers to passing through.
to passing through.